Debbie, hi, and
hi.
welcome. Good to be able to talk to you about category management. We've got this event coming up on March the 11th, which I think we're both very excited about.
Yes.
And that we're co-sponsoring. So I just wanted the opportunity to have a quick chat with you as somebody that's implemented category management and now talks about it. I just wanted to get your thoughts and your views about why category management is, if you like, the procurement strategy of choice. What's so great about category management? So maybe you could just introduce yourself and let us know about category management.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Debby Sorrell. I have implemented category management in my own departments and for clients across a range of different industries. What I would say, Steve, to answer your question, is that the reason category management works is because it helps to move the procurement function from a tactical function to a strategic business function, because we're moving to a planned approach for each category. So the category strategy will be a long-term strategy. It'll be over a number of years. It will be working closely with the business and being tightly aligned to the business plans. So it brings the procurement into the actual business in a strategic way. And then as we go through the category management process, it also enables us to get the best deals for what we want, getting good value for money and being able to sustain that over a period of time.
That's great. And we often hear in the circles that we move in about procurement being in the boardroom, about getting into the boardroom and in front of the chief exec. Really stop talking about it and get on with category management is what I'm hearing, because that'll elevate you to some degree as you say, as a business. Can I say that? As a business function?
Absolutely. The only way that procurement is going to be operating at the strategic level and be being listened to in the boardroom is to be by bringing benefit to the business. So if you can operate your procurement organisation in a way which integrates you with that business and with that business plan, then clearly that's the best way to go about getting involved at the senior C-level in organisations. Yeah, absolutely. I think the way we need to think about it is at the top level, as you say, you have your category strategies, and then sort of falling out of your category strategies, you can develop your segment or supplier strategies. It depends what terminology you use. Some people use segment rather than category or whatever. But you have your supplier strategy and your sourcing strategy coming from your category strategy. So that then feeds through to doing the actual procurement job, and also, really importantly, the supplier relationship management role. Because when we're looking at long-term plans and long-term category plans, then obviously managing those relationships with the suppliers that we use and potentially with the ones that we don't use but might want to use becomes really important. So yes, it links people doing the actual job on the ground to what's happening in the organisation boardroom in the strategy level there. So yeah, absolutely. I think the only other thing that I would just like to add to that is that when you're thinking about doing category management, you have to think of it as a business change program, not just a procurement change program. Okay, so it is about business change. It's about getting that senior level buy-in and then being able to flow that through your business. It's an uphill battle if you're trying to do it the other way around.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've said perhaps more than once during our conversation, planning. And I guess, you know, you can't get enough of it, can you? You can't get enough investment in time. of the planning process, as you've just said.
Yeah, you absolutely have to be prepared to do that. You know, you need good plans. You need sort of integrated cross-functional teams as well. Your category team isn't just procurement. Your category team involves stakeholders and involves people from the business and involves your suppliers. So that's also important. A category team can be led by somebody from procurement, but occasionally you might want to have somebody in the business leading that category team because they are more familiar with, you know, with the strategy and with the supplier and with what you're doing. So as long as procurement and commercial are in the team, they don't always have to lead. And that also enables you to get better integrated with the business because you're being inclusive. You know, you're looking at it from the team perspective, everybody delivering against the business goals and no functional silos. Yes, I think, you know, you've got to look at your strategy as the guiding process, if you like, over what you do. But then you do have individual procurements within that, which, you know, each one becomes a piece of the jigsaw that goes towards the strategy. And yes, then if you've done things in a planned way, it's much easier to hand that contract, if you like, into the business to be managed, to have effective contract management, good KPIs, good business measures, feeding back into your category strategy for next time, lessons learned, and all of those kind of things. So it's a cyclical approach, which should give you continuous improvement. So the next time you do a procurement exercise, you know, you've learned from the past and you've got this category team there all of the time looking after the strategy and feeding those things back in. So it should make things easier. Things like business continuity planning, you know, very important in the last few months.
Well,
you know, because you've planned for it. So you know what those things are. You've planned for contract exit. You know, you've built in lessons learned on how to exit maybe, you know, outsourced contracts that can be difficult to transition to a new supplier. And it also enables you to use some of the business tools to aid your planning. So you might think, well, where do I focus? So you can use things like CrowdJick and those things like on the ground, as you say, to say, well, these are the suppliers we maybe need to focus on to get our category management going. And then you can expand that later. You know, you can expand into more categories as you go along. Absolutely, you know, and the example I often use on business continuity planning for unexpected things is the you know, those people in the UK that are old enough to remember the Buncefield oil explosion in Hemel Hempstead.
Indeed. And
somebody that I worked with and know very well was involved in one of the IT companies that sort of was out of business because of that explosion. And there were two IT companies, and one of them got back to work within days, and the other one was months.
Yeah.
And that was just the difference between the planning that they had done on one side and not done any planning on the other side, and they'd lost everything and they had to start from scratch, whereas the other people, you know, were set up with everything duplicated on a different site, you know, because it might seem very unusual that some explosion would happen from an underground oil tank you didn't know existed. But these things do happen, as we know. So, yes.
What are you most looking forward to?
Well, I'm looking forward to, I think, two things. I'm looking forward to hearing about how people, you know, the speakers have implemented category management, and particularly the issues that they've come up against whilst they've been doing that, and how they've addressed those and achieved success. And I'm also looking forward to trying to, you know, help people that are thinking of doing it by sort of, you know, helping to give them some ideas and thoughts and maybe ways forward that they can start looking at implementing category management in their own organisations.
Excellent. Debbie, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'll look forward to seeing you again on March the 11th. And thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure, Steve. Look forward to seeing you soon.